Hey guys, welcome back to today's devotional. It's good for you to be with me as we are in Matthew chapter 5. Today our verses are verses 5 through 6. And, last Sunday I had an opportunity to do a sermon on just kind of introducing us to the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus is doing two things. I know we're in the Beatitudes right now, but just to give some background, he's doing what I would say two things within the Sermon on the Mount. The first is he's giving greater clarification of the law. Right, he's not establishing new law, but he's giving greater clarification of it. So the Jewish audience would have understood, thou shalt not commit adultery. And Jesus is saying, well, hey, if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, you've committed adultery. So now Jesus is going beyond simply the action, and he's looking at the heart that drives the action. He's helping the Jewish audience understand that the law was a much more heart-searching thing than I think was previously understood. But at the end of the day, it is such a high level and high standard that we're understanding that none of us can fulfill it. He's commanding us to obey the law, which none of us can do, and that points us to Jesus. The second thing Jesus is doing in the Sermon on the Mount is he's helping us understand, once we belong to him, what our lives should begin to look like, right? And that's what the Beatitudes are. Jesus is walking through, blessed are. And we've heard blessed be translated to happy. And again, I think that's a very poor translation of what blessed means. Blessed, I would say in the biblical understanding, means to be approved by God, right? So blessed are, approved by God, are those who are poor in spirit, are those who mourn over their sin. So today we're looking at blessed are, the first one, chapter 5, verse 5, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And meekness is one of those things that immediately when we hear it, I think a lot of people will mistake it for weakness. But the truth is, biblical meekness is so far from being weak. Those who are meek are patient. They're content. They have a gentleness in their spirit that is able to withstand injuries from others without resentment. They're able, or they're not quick to take offense. If somebody says something that hurts them or upsets them, they understand in their hearts and minds we're all broken, we're all sinful, and they see through that lens rather than being so quick to take offense and get angry and then wanting to kind of give retribution. Another way to put it is they're ones who have the right or the power to do something, but they refrain from doing it for the benefit of others. It's grace is what we're seeing. And the other, verse 6, is blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Now, what does that mean? What does that look like, to hunger and thirst for righteousness? Well, Jesus is addressing the audience to understand that he's talking about those who desire above all things to be entirely conformed to the heart and mind of God. Right? They desire holiness above all else. Our actions are not perfect. Right? We're sinful, and our thought life is not perfect. And someone who hungers and thirsts for righteousness desires to conform both of those completely to Christ. And one thing I want to say is we know that we are not going to live these things out perfectly. We're not. No matter what the Lord has done to redeem and save us, we are in the process of sanctification. But the problem is we sometimes will use that truth to enable us or be almost apathetic to the reality that we need to be holy. So let's understand that we're not going to be perfect in these things, but let's strive to be obedient. And that's kind of like the application for today. Do you have a meekness? Are you, when Jesus says, blessed are, approved by God are the meek, is that a quality that you have? Blessed are, approved by God are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Is that you? I think of a quote that I heard this week. It said, I find that our wants qualify us for Christ. And that was a beautiful way of just really bringing down and summing really quickly that our desires are really a reflection of where we are with our relationship with Jesus. Someone who has sinned and repents is more angry at his own heart that consented to the sin than he is at the one who tempted him to sin. So just want to encourage you today. Spend some time. Ask the Lord, how are you doing in these areas? Do these Beatitudes reflect your life? And ask the Lord to be very clear on whether that's the case. And let's be willing to hear when he talks to us and says no, because that's the hard part is, okay, where do I need to address these areas in my life? Again, we do that for his glory and for our good. So God bless you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you soon.